Ma'am, how is industrial waste affecting groundwater?
Industrial waste, this can affect both surface water as well as groundwater. If it is directly let into rivers, mostly industries let their sewage or untreated waste into rivers or water bodies. So this affects the entire quality of rivers or any water bodies that this waste is let into. So in that case, this aquatic life is totally affected. When it comes to groundwater, when this waste that is let into water bodies start penetrating or percolating under the ground, then the fresh water that is under the ground is also affected. The quality starts degrading. So when you pump out water through well or bore well, then that becomes an issue when you start consuming it for domestic usage or for agricultural usage. So mostly irrigation water is taken from wells. So in that case, agriculture is also affected when it comes to groundwater. When this waste is deposited on lands, it's on landfill. So when this is let out into lands, it starts going inside the land. That is called percolation. So this waste goes inside the land and it affects the quality of groundwater. This is how it is affecting the groundwater quality. And when you want an example, the garbage dump yard. So when a study was made about groundwater in and around the dump yard, it was found that this waste penetrates into the groundwater and travels through a distance. So a certain amount of circumference around the garbage dump yard is also affected. The groundwater is affected because of this. We call it leachate. So not only the point, you have an entire area that of groundwater and freshwater affected due to this industrial waste.
Ma'am, only around the industries, or is it like, does it travel?
It definitely travels. If the industrial waste is let into rivers, so whenever you have water, rain, or when the water is flowing from upstream to downstream, this waste also is taken downstream. So when the velocity of water is nil, when you do not have rain or something like that, then the waste gets deposited in one place. And there begins the problem, because at the downstream end, people start suffering because of waste disposal. And when it affects the groundwater, this also travels under the ground. Like water from one point travels under the ground to another point, then the waste also travels.
Are they continue? Sorry, ma'am, ma'am, personally, what do you think which steps can be taken to conserve water or water management to increase awareness?
Water management starts at home. So when you stop, when you change leaking taps, when you close the tap while brushing or washing your face, then that is where conservation of water really begins. So it starts at home. So when you're talking about wider circle, then industries should treat and let out the waste, because you have this biodiversity being affected due to any industry or any domestic sewage or industrial sewage. Anything that is let directly into water bodies or land should be treated, and the quality must be checked and made sure that it is maintained before it is released into water bodies. So, and again, somewhere when you occupy water bodies to construct buildings or something like that, then again, water bodies is a chain. So when one tank fills, it overflows and it flows to another tank where it gets filled. So it's a chain of tanks, and then it finally joins the river and then into the ocean. So we should make sure that this chain of water bodies is not cut, it's maintained so that flooding does not happen in the future.
Ma'am, lack of waste, because of lack of waste management, how are the water resources affected? How is
waste management is a huge issue now. It's a growing issue. With growing population, you have a lot of waste to manage, and it's really tough. So this waste, if not managed properly, it directly affects water resources, because be it surface water or groundwater, as already when it's disposed into surface water, when it gets into surface water, it starts flowing, it moves through a long distance, it affects the entire biodiversity of fresh water. And eventually it gets into seas and oceans, where again aquatic life is damaged, water quality is damaged. And when it comes to groundwater, when it starts moving under the groundwater also gets affected, and this is not at the point of waste disposal. It travels through a longer distance than we can even imagine. So sometimes when we start pumping bore water or groundwater for any usage, any kind of usage, you can see that the quality of water is very bad. And this is not because at that point you have some problem. It is maybe at some point upstream, at a greater distance at the upstream, you have waste being dumped. So this waste travels through a longer distance and affects groundwater at all the for a greater circumference surrounding the dump here. So when you start managing waste, eventually you will have a better quality of water, any kind of water.
Ma'am, are the people these days more aware or careless about the water management compared to earlier times, and why?
Actually, if you're talking about the very earlier times or ancient times, then you must be knowing that women have to walk long distances, carry water. You have to carry water for a long distance to bring back home. Compared to that, I would say that we have water supply inside our home throughout the day, in most of the places. And after 2015 flood, you can say that when it comes to water management, you can say before 2015 and after 2015 when it comes to Chennai, because Chennai faced very huge floods in 2015 due to lack of water management, I would say, because all the rain that we get is let out into the river as waste. And during the monsoon, and during the summer you have water scarcity, you do not have water. And if you check, we mostly have alternating years of flood and drought. So if you efficiently manage water during monsoon, then I think this rainwater will be sufficient enough to meet our demands for the summer. So this one main method of conserving rainwater is rainwater harvesting. So the government of Tamil Nadu made rainwater harvesting compulsory for all buildings in around 2005. So every building will have a rainwater harvesting system. From the terrace, this system will carry rainwater that is falling on the terrace to an underground sump or a borewell where it gets filtered, and then it either recharges groundwater or you can filter it and directly use it to fill sumps or wells. So this method will definitely help in groundwater recharge, and this will help in water supply for the summer. You need not rely directly on the government for water to be supplied or available throughout the year. So if these steps are followed, then I guess. But if you are asking me the question about awareness, I guess after 2015, people are more aware of efficient management of rainwater, and they know how precious water is, because you should not let it into the sea as a waste. You have to conserve it to be available for the next part of the year, which is summer. So I guess people are more aware now, mostly youngsters.
Yes.
Thank you for giving your time.
Thank you so much. It was a nice interview, and hope the message is passed on to the youngsters.
It was really informative. Thank you.